There is no bigger symbol of illiberal America than internet and digital censorship. And we're not talking about censorship by one entity, but I would call it coordinated censorship. Censorship by collusion. Censorship in which Twitter does something because Facebook did something, because Google did something, and then other companies like Amazon will jump in. It's almost like a bunch of bullies all jumping in to throw blows at the same guy. And one of the head bullies is Jack Dorsey at Twitter. Now, recently, Jack Dorsey, in a very strange set of tweets, appeared to be doing some rather odd backpedaling and some rather odd soul searching. So let me read a couple of his tweets. I do not celebrate or feel pride in our having to ban real Donald Trump from Twitter or how we got here. After a clear warning we take this action, we made a decision with the best information we had. Was this correct? He kind of puts out there. Was this correct? As if he's seeking popular referendum for what he already did. Here's another one, which almost seems to call his own actions into question. Having to take these actions fragment, he means fragments, the public conversation. They divide us. They limit the potential for clarification, redemption, and learning. And sets a precedent, he means they set a precedent, I feel is dangerous. The power an individual or corporation has over a part of the global public conversation. Wow. Is Jack really stepping back and applying some introspection? Did this all come out from his long walk on the beach with Sean Penn, the man that my wife, Debbie, called Sean Pendeo, Sean the Stupid in Spanish? Jack appears here to be open to other points of view. He appears to be someone who is stepping outside himself and sort of examining his own actions. And I'm tempted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm tempted to say to him, Jack, listen, don't just hang around with Sean Penn. Don't just hang around with freaks like yourself. I realize that it's comfortable for you to do it that way, but if you really want to have and hear different points of view, why don't you hang out with people who have real families? Hang out with people who actually work real jobs. Hang out with normal people. Widen your perspective, truly. Now, then I see, just yesterday I believe it was, that Project Veritas released a series of videos on Jack, one very telling one, in which you see a very different Jack. It's almost like you got the public Jack. He's a head scratcher. He's trying to figure out what he's really doing. And then you see him behind the scenes. You hear him, in a sense, on candid camera. And here he's basically saying, oh yeah, we're not just focused on one account, Trump. Kind of like, we got that guy. But there's a lot more of this to come. In other words, we're ready to knife a whole bunch of other people. We're not going to stop. We're hitting our groove here. So this is almost like the CEO who's in the public relations conference, or the politician, da 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 da. And then the moment that the cameras go off, he's in the back room, he's cutting deals, cash is changing hands. So you begin to see the real Jack. And the real Jack is a real Jack. So what's going on here is that Twitter, I think, is trying to save face. Why? They're trying to save face because there is a movement building against them that they are only now beginning to see. First of all, where is that movement coming from? Let me tell you this. It's not coming from Lindsey Graham. Here's Lindsey Graham tweeting a few days ago. I'm more determined than ever to strip Section 230 protections from big tech that let them be immune from lawsuits. He's more determined than ever. Now, when Lindsey Graham had the ability to do this, when Republicans had the House, Republicans had the Senate, he didn't do it. Now that he's going to be out of power, where the Democrats control the House and the Senate and the presidency, now Lindsey Graham's really going to be on the case. I think you can see why there are so many people who find this a little hard to swallow. They find it not only unbelievable, but insulting to hear this kind of rhetoric. It's like, do you take us to be, you think we were born yesterday? I like Lindsey Graham. I think he came through on Kavanaugh. He has a feisty personality at times, but it's this side of him that makes me just go white with rage. Now, the good news is not coming from Lindsey Graham. I read that, this is an article in AP News, that Manuel López Obrador, the president of Mexico, is assembling an international coalition. It includes Angela Merkel from Germany, many other countries, mobilizing globally against internet censorship in the United States. Why? Because they don't want it to go global. They don't want Twitter deciding what you can hear when the German elections are going on. In Uganda, they already banned social media for exactly this reason. Why? Because Psycho Jack and Psycho Mark Zuckerberg were jumping in and banning people in Uganda, banning politicians, banning people that they basically decided. And who gives them the right to decide what should be talked about in Uganda? What kind of Yankee arrogance is this? And so the world is basically starting to get a little pissed off. Why? Because they don't want to be pissed on. Because they want to step in and say, we're not going to allow this to happen over here. I'm quite sure that Modi in India doesn't want Zuckerberg and Dorsey deciding what kind of debate occurs in New Delhi or Calcutta or Bombay. So we have a remarkable phenomenon here, which is normally it's America that teaches the world. Normally America leads the world. But it may be that in starting to put a brake on digital censorship, it is the world, and this will come as a relief to me for one, that leads America.